Okay, let's start on a lighter mode. I want to say happy independence to you. And how do you feel, Nigeria at 60?
Okay, let me start by saying this is the 60th birthday, so to say. Like, this is general belief among Nigerians and across the world that the 1st October is a Nigerian's birthday. And just like you, whenever it's your birthday, you celebrate, you become happy, and you know. But there are a lot of things behind the independence. You ask me what is independence to me. If literally, if you define independence is being free from dependency, free from control. And then you ask yourself, are we truly free from dependencies? Are we free from control, direct or indirect control? And if you look at I heard you talking about economic dependency. Are we free from economic dependencies? Are we free from economic control?
Right.
These are issues we have to truly look at to see whether we are truly independent nation and whether it's worthy of celebration. But you know, there are a lot of things that we can reflect. This is the day to put aside some of the bad things, some of the challenges, and look at the positive things. And at least for once, let's celebrate ourselves. Let's look at the good side of this country and let us recognize and celebrate the heroes you're talking about, especially our military that are already in the front line in the security challenge states and areas. They've been fighting, not even the living ones, the ones that have died in order to safeguard this country that we are even celebrating its 60th birthday today. But that's on the one side. But on the other side, this is my personal belief, though. I don't see Nigeria being independent on the 1st October 1960, as they say. God has created everyone free and equal. And there was never a time when Nigeria has lost its independence. And when the British invaded the country illegally, because they were not solicited to come into this country. They took our ancestors as slaves. They took them to their countries. Our ancestors, they were the ones that built this great Europe and the America, perhaps, that we are celebrating, that we admire.
Right.
And that has not been compensated. And that was not legal. You just come and take away a free man with his family, with his farmland and his established values. Before the invasion of the white people into Africa, Africa had independent settings, cultural, social, religious, political system in place. And when these people came, they abolished all this system. They brought their own. And when they left, when they decided, when they are done with us, they are okay after they've taken all our resources to them and our human resources to them for their own benefit. They say, oh, we are done with you. We are leaving. 1960, we are going, oh, you have your independence. That's not the first time we had our independence. Before they came, we were already independent people. We are independent nation, independent societies. We might not be united as one country, but we are independent naturally. So when you say you are celebrating Independence Day on the 1st October because the British gave you independence, the British didn't give Nigeria independence because Nigeria was naturally independent nation. And we can say, instead of saying Independence Day, to me, I would rather say National Day to reflect on our values, our essence, and our ethics, and look at our potentials and design the future we want. And this is 60 years down the line from that period. And then what about 60 years now, time to come? And we may not mark it on the 1st October. Even if we had to do that, we can then say we are just celebrating a day when we collect back our freedom. But not the day we got our independence.
Well, let me quickly comment. As profound as the point you made is, I mean, not many people will share that perspective with you. Even the colonial masters may not share that with you because they believe that, yes, we may have our own culture, our own lifestyle, our own resources before they came. But the fact that they gave us the kind of social lifestyle, education, and all of that, and then up until that time, I mean, we didn't know how to go about our own thing. So how do we balance these perspectives, these two perspectives and narrative?
Is it, this is the negative effect of the belief that we've been taught right from school, that we are taught in social studies that, hey, Nigeria independence was 1st October, the British came, it gave us social lifestyle, gave us education. How many other countries around the world that have never been colonized, they have social lifestyle, they have education. Education is not British. Education doesn't belong to white people. Education is universal, is human. Social lifestyle is specific to people. If you have your social lifestyle, you have your social value, and now you say someone is coming to give you his social value and social lifestyle, and you abandon your own. And that's why we found ourselves where we are today. Because we think our social lifestyle is not enough, it's not good. We are now taking someone else's lifestyle. Before they came, we had educational system. Before they came, we had our social lifestyle. So they asked us to drop our own and pick their own. And that's why we found ourselves in between, imbalanced. We don't know where we belong. Everything we try to copy. If it's democracy, we copy. Politics, we copy. Economy, socials, everything, we copy everything from them. And that has actually led us to have this low self-esteem. To still think that this kind of remnants that in our brain, that we have masters. The British, we admire them. We want to go to UK. This is UK product. It's affecting our mentality. It's affecting our economy. So we have to start by changing our history. History is not constant. History can be changed. We have to start changing our history first. When we look at the history, we are not changing what happened in the past, but we are changing how we look at the things that happened, the perception of the history in the past. That's what I mean, changing the history. Not changing the antecedents, the incidents that happened, but changing how we look at it, how we react to it. So we have to start, this is the time where we have to start bringing this kind of discussion. And we didn't care what you call the masters or the colonial masters would think about us, because we are truly independent nation. If we change our history, they cannot come and say, hey, we don't want to change this history. And they set our curriculum, so to say, initially. And most of this curriculum is what they design our history. And if we cannot design our own history, then we cannot move forward. And this is what actually led to the economic collapse of this country, because we think that we have superior people. We have people above us. They are the one who gave us everything, freedom, and so to say. Let
me take you up on that, the economic collapse of Nigeria. Now, as at 1981, we saw the dollar it was about 61 kobo. The naira was 61 kobo to the dollar. That was as at 1981. But now the naira is almost about 500 naira to the dollar. What can we say went wrong? Let's just start from there. You talked of economic collapse. What went wrong along the line?
Well, I think it's very simple. You just need to look back at that time and see how was Nigeria and how is Nigeria now. So the answer lies in between. At that time, most of the things we consume in the country is locally produced. There are a lot of things, I don't have the data now, but I've watched a video of someone narrating about products, items and services, airlines, railways, most of the things, Vaseline, most of these consumables, most of them we produce them locally. Petroleum, we produce it locally. I mean, we refine it because our refineries were working at that time. But now you ask yourself, everything, we didn't have airlines. We didn't have most of these factories, textile, they're all down. And every single item we consume largely, mostly are imported. And every importation weakens the naira. And if you look at the trend of importation is going up like this continuously, and the higher it goes, the weaker the naira becomes. And now we are talking of, if you look at the import basket, the largest bill in our import basket is petroleum. And we say we are the second largest crude oil
producer.
Natural endowment. In terms of natural reserves, we are the second largest in Africa and the largest producer. The largest producer in Africa. And we still lose the value of our currency due to the importation of the same natural resource that we have, the endowments in the country. If you look at even agriculture, we still import a lot of agricultural products. Recently, this administration also ordered for the importation of maize. So you see, so these are the main issue why Naira actually is suffering in the money market. So the only solution is if we can track the largest the largest bills, okay, the biggest bills in the import basket, and see how are we going to reduce this bill so that we can actually reduce the pressure on Naira, and so that people will start looking for Naira. Now there is no demand for Naira across the world. There is no person that will just come, unless if you are coming directly. What I mean is, unless you are in the international market, but unless you are coming to Nigeria just for your local consumption to pay for the hotel bills and restaurant. But international market, there is no demand for Naira. But there is always demand for dollar from Nigerians. And the Nigerians, they have to supply Naira to take dollar. Right. And if you oversupply Naira, the Nigerian government, the CBN, will be asked to clear the Naira by bringing dollars in there. So we have dollar scarcity. Everyone wants to get dollar. Even the CBN now said they're not going to give dollar for importation of food items, which is to say we still import some of these agricultural products.
Okay, where do you think we can begin to start to address this shortfall? Is it the area of leadership? Is it policy, getting policy right, or not getting it right? Where does the problem? I know with the analogy you've given, it is clear because the government will tell you, look, we have the reality on ground. It's not as the reality in the 80s. So where do you think we should start from?
I think for Nigeria to fix any of its problems has to start by changing 4 systems. Because no matter how good our leaders are, no matter how many times we try many leaders, Nigeria will never get it right unless we change 4 systems.
Okay, so you want to share the system?
Of course, yes. Our problems are systematic. If you pick one problem, you keep tracing it back, until you reach a particular system failure.
All right.
Before I mention these system failures, let me just give you a scenario so that you understand the perspective of why I think these are system failures. I recently went to a particular state in this country, and I asked someone, why do you think, who are these armed bandits? They are killing people. I said, they are normal people in town. No, they are young people. I said, why do you think they kill people? He said, because of poverty. I said, why do you think why do they have poverty? Because they are not educated. I asked him, why are they not educated? Because bad governance. Why do you have bad governance? Corruption. Why do you have corruption? So you have to keep challenging, asking questions behind every layer. Every problem you trace, you ask question again. Why? You don't go for simple answers. You say, oh, why do you have bad governance? Oh, corruption. Okay, now fix corruption. Then you ask question about the corruption too. Why do you have corruption? Greediness. Why do you have greediness? You keep until you get to the root of the problem. So every problem you see, it traces back to these 4 systems. The first one is democratic system. All right. Number 2 is economic system. And then social system and family system. There is no Nigerian leader will ever succeed without changing these systems, because our problems are systematic problems. So you talk about leadership. Of course, leadership is key, because leadership is about crafting the vision, believing in the vision, motivating people, communicating the vision, motivating and driving people to achieving it, to manage that vision. So, but if you don't have a leader that cannot even think of tomorrow, then there is no country. And this is a very simple problem. Even if you have the vision, you cannot achieve this vision if you have not solved these system problems. So for me, that's why I say a day like this, it's a day to reflect into the future and see what is our vision. What do you want to achieve? And earlier this morning, I had a webinar with some international students, and they asked me, "Sir, is it structural problem in Nigeria, or is it attitudinal problem?" You know, a lot of Nigerians start asking questions about structuring, restructuring the country. No, but that's the last resort. There are a lot of solutions we have to take before we get there.
Okay.
And we have to get the best of ourselves first, so that we can happily and at full capacity, then we can disintegrate if we want, or restructure the country. But the idea is, if we change our attitude, we change our ethics, our values, and get the right values, not the European ones, but the one that fit us.
Okay.
And that is when we can actually make it. So for me, I think it's attitudinal change. The idea of being brothers and sisters keepers. What affects you affects me. What affects Bayelsa affects someone from Katsina. If there is armed banditry in Katsina, people are being killed in Katsina, and someone from Bayelsa doesn't care. It's not my business. So that's not the right value. The right value and ethic, the essence of Nigeria, is to become brothers and sisters keepers. That it should matter to me if I see a child on the street begging, even if it's not my child, that I put someone else's comfort and happiness first before mine. Selflessness.
Yeah.
So these are the right ethics, because how you do anything is how you do everything. If you see me how I behave in the traffic light, that's how I behave in the office, in my home. When I consider myself first, I just want to pass through this traffic light. Even if someone is trying to pass, it's his turn, but I'm trying to overtake this person. Even if it is red light, I'm trying to pass because I didn't care. I only care about my own comfort, what I want. And that's how we do in offices. That's how we do when we are elected. How you do anything is how you do everything. So when we think of our comfort, that's what happened when you see people in offices and they're stealing public money and they're being corrupt because they think of themselves first, they don't think of others. Yeah. So we live in a country, unfortunately, where we only think when we get it, that's when we win. But we have to change the belief into this way where I will think, when you succeed, I succeed. Yeah. I feel happy that I helped toward your success. And I feel bad when you don't make it. But in Nigeria, it's the opposite. I only succeed when you fall and I stand. So these are the right ethics and the attitude we have to change first before we get into whatever future we want to achieve. But I believe there are a lot of prospects, there are a lot of good things, good side of Nigeria that we had to amplify today as a day to strengthen this unity that we're talking about, and look into the future and see what we can do.
All right, still taking you back to the roots of the economic problem of the country. There's the narrative that says the structural adjustment program of the 80s under Babangida's regime was the root of the economic problem in Nigeria and some other, in fact, in Africa in general, but Nigeria, now we're looking at Nigeria. Would you agree with this? Well,
no, I wouldn't agree with that, because the global economy is volatile. The global economy is changing continuously. There is no time when the global economy will just remain static. Civilization has come from time immemorial, and a lot of things have been changing, and from socialism into capitalism, you know, and it's a global change. And we are not going to point finger at a leader, at someone and say this is someone's problem. It is collective system issue. I've been talking about system problem. And if you look at structural program, it is the same legacy where we have achieved so much as a country. We have produced great people. We have produced great fortune. We have earned a lot of benefits and made a lot of progress as a result of the structural adjustment program. It actually removes the hand of government away from direct involvement into the economy and open space for people to really come in and participate economically. And that has actually made a lot of people rich and billionaires, so to say, and created jobs along the line. But the idea is, when people think their poverty, their predicament is because of someone else's problem or efforts or policy, So we don't look inward. We look outward and see and blame people. We are very quick in blaming our leaders and say, oh, I don't have money now. Oh, it's because of this bad leader. But we don't look inward and see, what have we done to change our belief, to act, to do something? How many people have actually gained from the structural adjustment program? And this program has not been changed. Like, if you think structural adjustment program is bad, how many administrations have we had after that one? Why didn't you scrap that program? So it's a system, it's not a program. Even if Babangida did not bring structural adjustment program, Nigeria will be this kind of liberal economy. And we are now seeing, even in petroleum sector, even this bad administration, they are trying to liberalize the petroleum sector. Even telecommunication is being liberalized. It's just to give space for people to participate, to become active players in the economy. So I would look at structural adjustment program as a very good program. But whether it's implemented right or not, that's a different question. I have not studied whether structural adjustment program was implemented well properly, or not. But the program itself is good. And the idea is, if you look at that period, 1980s to early 1990s, and now you compare to today, and see which period are we better off? Is it that period or this period? Even though I know there are impacts of things that happened in the past, that we are now experiencing it. Things we do today will bounce back to us in the next 60 years' time to come. So, but I don't think this is the only problem that we face that led us to where we are today.
Okay, I want us to talk a little bit more. I mean, you mentioned that there is a system problem, and you talk about the democratic system. You also mentioned social and family. Well, let's talk about where you mentioned about attitudinal behavior and all that. You know, Nigeria is diverse. It's a diverse nation with different ethnic groups, languages, and all of that. And one thing that is very difficult to do away with within the Nigerian people is religion and of course ethnic group. How easy do you think we can do away with that? The issue of sectionalism and regionalism, it's really something that has eaten deep in the Nigerian people.
Yeah, actually we are, like you said, we are deeply rooted socially when it comes to especially religion and culture. So I feel more connected to you, especially in Nigeria, when we share common ethnicity than even religion. So I consider ethnicity before religion. I don't know if you share this kind of opinion with me.
I mean, go ahead,
on your own perspective. But from my own perspective, I think people are more connected from ethnic wise than religious wise. And I think that's why people have been clamoring for character balance. I mean, the character commission implementing the character policy to make sure there is balance, there is justice. But diversity is inevitable. And to me, is a prospect. We can tap into our diversity. When you are different from me, it means that you have different thinking system. You have different way of looking at things, and we can look at all our problems from this diverse way of looking at things and then find solutions to it. I think it's something that I talk about family system. Differences when we see people, how we see them is not indicative of who they are, but how we are. How I see you is showing how I am. How I look at her is not indicative of who she is, but how I am. Because you might look at her from different lens, and I look at her from a different lens. So family system is where values are shaped. And you teach our children that, that person is your brother. You're now trying to tell people about stories. If you're from the South, you give your children stories about good people and great people, prospects, peace, advantages that you can get from people from the Hausa land or maybe from the North, and vice versa. And then we try to expose our children to diversity, mixing them and receiving people. And that's why I say becoming brothers keepers. When I see my father worried about maybe an accident or a tanker explosion in Lagos, He's been worried. This is people from Lagos. It's our people. What's he teaching me? He's teaching me the value. But when I hear my father say, no, it's there is a problem, it doesn't affect me. What is he teaching me? So it has to start from the family. And if changing the family system is not only government problem, it's not a government responsibility, it's everyone. We have to look at all the structures we have, traditional leaders, religious leaders, teachers, lecturers, media stations like these ones. We have to do a lot of national reorientation campaign. Right. And that's why I like late Dora, Minister of Information and Reorientation. Yeah. She had a very fantastic policy, national reorientation program. That's very fantastic. So we have to step down that kind of program. And I like this kind of program. The National Youth Service Corps is exposing people to accepting diversity, accepting each other. So adaptability is what we need to instill as a skill. So we shouldn't just let it be to be detected by nature. We have to strategically target adaptation skills and give it to people in schools. We should have adaptability course. We have so many outdated courses in our secondary schools. So we should bring about adaptability classes where we expose people to diversities and see how they behave so that we correct them. And see, when you see an alien behavior, a behavior that you're not used to, how do you react to it? Do you accept it or do you reject it? When I see you for the first time, I put +10 on you. I don't just look at you and underrate you. I don't give you benefit of doubt. Right. Whoever we meet, we give that person a benefit of doubt. Right. We have confidence on everyone. We don't doubt people. We have hope. And we all have to believe in this country. That the only thing that will unite us to avoid this kind of ethnic division or religious division is when we have something in common. So that whenever we meet, we don't talk about our differences. We talk about what brings us together, which is this country. And this country has to be fair to us. There has to be justice. And this is where leadership comes in. And this is where justice comes in. We don't want to see leadership or governance where people you give opportunity to, or where the areas where you choose to build national project is people that you share certain commonness with. That people you don't even know. You build their country, you build their area. You appoint people even if you don't know them. You don't just appoint people because you know them. That's nepotism. And that's what brings a lot of division among us. But when I don't care who is the leader, because I know he's going to be fair to me and to people where I come from. And that's when we have this kind of acceptability and unity. And people are even asking for this restructuring because they think that's the only way they can get fairness. But there is a room where we can have this fairness, even if we are this diverse.
Now, looking at, the 60th anniversary of the nation, and it's from everything we're seeing, it's looking like a lot of groups or a lot of us are being held together against our will. Do you see us really staying together further, in the future? Because look at now, it is October 1st, and we saw the IPOB, calling for a stay-at-home order to boycott celebrations, right? And a lot of other, things we've been seeing so far. Do you see us staying together longer in Nigeria?
Yes, I do. Okay. We will stay for longer, if not forever, together, because there's so much more fortunes and prospects from ourselves that we have not yet tapped. And our problems is not just being together. We are not our own problems. I talked about the systems. I talk about the cultures. I talk about values and ethics, that these are our problems. We have to try changing these things, the values. What do you see as success? When are you successful? Who do you see and say this person is successful and this person is not? What do you see? Are you looking at the money? When people are just looking at the person with the highest money or with the big money is more successful than someone that is honest and contributing to the societal development. So this is a problem. Even if you say, okay, IPOB, take your country, but they have this bad value, they're not having the right value, they will fight each other. The problems will still persist. Now, but even if we have to split or we have to restructure, let it be when we are doing much better, when we are happy, everything is going well. And I say, oh, so are we happy? Shall we now restructure? At that time, people will say no. So the clamoring for saying don't go out, this IPOP, is a reaction to a system failure. It's a reaction, it's an effect to certain problems. So fix those problems, attitudinal problems first, before you restructure. And if you take restructuring first before the attitudinal change, you're going to have a bigger crisis because no one is ready. And we need each other. We don't know how much we need each other until we split, like you said, or we restructure. I don't know. The restructure could be very broad. You know, it could be in many forms. We can be together and we can restructure our systems. We can restructure how our natural resources, how we share the benefits, how we govern ourselves, but as a united country. So we might decide to restructure our political system in terms of the voting process, in terms of the electoral people that we elect, the positions we have. Instead of maybe having presidential, we can change to parliamentary. All these are restructuring. But I think we have so much more to go. We have a long way to go as a country, and there are a lot of prospects, I believe, in the future.
Okay, let's talk more about the economic restructuring. I know a lot of people have said the 2014 Sovereign Conference that was organized under the former President Goodluck Jonathan, if it's anything to go by, given that submission about, I mean, the meeting was organized and was attended by various ethnic groups, well represented from different groups and other sectors of the economy. How do you think we should take that document if we have to address some of the challenges that the country is faced with today?
Well, if you look at it from economic restructuring, I would like to lead that conference. I think the way I look at it is more of political restructuring and how we share natural resources benefits. So maybe that could be the angle that you look at it, and maybe I'll say economic restructuring. The economic change, the system that, now let me just directly answer one of the questions you asked me about changing the economic system. The economic system we have right now is a system where everything is subject to money. Money rules. So we have an economic system where everything you get, everything you have, everything you access, how qualitative that thing is subject to your money. If you want to get education, healthcare, housing, transport, energy, water, security, everything you want to get is subject to your money. And to what extent will you have access to that, and at what quality, is still subject to your money. And if we have a system of money where everything is subject to money, then we are going to have so much desperation and competition for the money. And people, if they are desperate, they can do anything for the money. And that's why we have corruption. That's why we have bad governance.
Would you say that's what is happening right now?
Yes, exactly. That's what is happening right now. The money rules. And that is why we will never fix insecurity. Because if we have not changed this system, what we want is all these things I mentioned, basic access to life. It should not be subjected to how much money you have. There should be a basic access to standard of living. Whether you are rich or poor, you have this basic access that is comfortable for you to live. But even think of the poorest person you have ever known. That person, there is no provision for housing for him. If he has to get a house, he has to get it by himself. If you want security, you cannot get the security person for himself. If you want to get water, I don't think there is provision for him. If you want to get transport, there is no public transport for him that will take him everywhere. If you want to get water, I talk about water, healthcare. Right. People cannot afford to fall sick. I've been talking about this. That will cost them just 1 million. And pay for it, they cannot. A lot of people die because they cannot pay 1 million. And that is the system failure. And this actually led to frustration and desperation. And when we have these two things together, you have a big bomb. So you keep producing insecurity, you keep producing angry people, and this armed bandit will keep coming, this Boko Haram will keep coming again, this militant will keep coming again and again and again. If you kill them, another set of people will come back again.
Let me just take you up as we begin to round up. We're talking about a dissatisfied citizenry. We see that what happened this morning, the Revolution Now protest that took place this morning. I want to get your thoughts on that. That's a case of where people are calling for, okay, we need good governance. Let me just get your thoughts on that.
Yeah, it's an indication of the poor performance, especially of this administration. Every government should see its success based on its ability to satisfy people. I know you cannot satisfy everyone, but try to be fair to people. And we live in a country, like I told you, that people would keep coming and go, would come and go and come and go, but they were not fixing the problem. And people are angry. And now you are saying revolution now. What do you mean by revolution now? What are you changing? Do you want the current president to step down? Or do you want another election? Or do you want a new country? What do you want specifically? And most people are calling for revolution because they are angry. They are frustrated. You and I, we will not call for revolution. Why? We are so busy. Why are we not in the protest? Because we have business to do here. People don't have business to do. An idle mind is a devil workshop. And when you keep people idle, young people, they will start asking for revolution. They think their problem is the leader up there. They will become angry. They will look at someone living large, living happy life, successful life, enjoying his life. They become angry and frustrated. And they admire, they wish they want to be in the kind of life. And if someone, they have never seen maybe 100,000 naira, and someone gave them gun and say, okay, let's go and shoot. They're not even happy with this person. Okay, shoot that guy. Oh, I'm not even happy with this person. They go and shoot him and get 100,000. They've never seen it, and they're living large. They're living closer to the kind of life they admire. And now you give them money again. They'll go back and do it again and again. If you kill this person, another person will be recruited again. So it's a system problem. So there is no way we can have a stable government that will be devoid of this kind of call for revolution if you cannot solve this economic problem or system problem.
Okay, as a wrap up now, just give us your parting shot. What is it particularly you want us to reflect on as Nigeria, marks 60th anniversary today? Well,
the basic things. Number one, we have to get the right leadership. All these things I'm talking about. Before it gets to the head of someone that can implement it and agree with it, it takes time. We'll be just blabbering here in the TV. People would start hearing, hey, nice speech. We forget about it. But unless people with this kind of right thinking are put in the leadership position, that they say, this is it. Nigerians, let me explain to you, this is our reality. This is where we go. So first, leadership. And then we identify these problems, these system failures, and set a system on how to solve these problems. And another big issue that as a country we have to look at is population management. Population management. Population management is a situation whereby we grow according to our capacity. Now, even if this government will say, I'm going to spend huge billions of naira to fix healthcare, the Nigerian government cannot solve healthcare problem. If you are spending large amount of money to solve education problem, you cannot satisfy everyone. Because of what? The demand is so much, the gaps is so wide, that we have grown so bigger than our ability, than our capacity, to the extent that when we add population, that we are not preparing the population to add value to the economy. So the only incident, the only condition where our additional population will add value to our economy, like what happens in China, is when every addition into the population is being managed, grown, developed, and provided with the right skills and thought to add value to the economy. But what we are adding liabilities to the economy. Because the reason why I say liabilities is when we have additional population that we cannot take care of. And this is taking me back to the family system. When we have family system where parents give back to children at the age of 2, 3, 4, they abandon the children. They put them on the street. What do you think these children will learn from the street? Bad or good? Tendency is larger percentage is bad things. And these parents have not provided the education, the health care, the discipline, the character, the belief, the right thinking, the adaptability, acceptability, all these the values we'll be talking about. Will this child add value to the economy? Will this child be a proud citizen and patriotic Nigerian? The tendency is no, the larger proportion of it. And if this person now has grown, most of these armed bandits, if you ask them, they've never been to Islamic schools or churches. They have never been to school, Western school or modern schools. They've never been there. They don't even know that killing people is a bad thing. They didn't know. They only worship money. And these people, are they a benefit to society? So we have to, as family, be able to take what we can control. We look at our capacity and then decide how much responsibility are we taking upon ourselves so that we can control, so that every addition we make is adding value. So we have to do a lot of system changes around culture and family system, economic system, and even democracy, how we elect our leaders. Because not everyone has the right thought in choosing the right leader. Someone will know that this person is more competent, but will go and vote for the wrong candidate. Consciously, he's aware. But there's someone who, knowing that this person is more competent, there is no way, despite the financial inducement or party affiliation, will still go for the right candidate. So not everyone is making the right choice in election. So there are a lot of changes that we can bring along our election system. Who is supposed to even vote in election? Who is even supposed to stand for election? And what happens if you get into the position? Because the first step that we also have to take is to reduce the monetary attractions to political positions. A lot of bad people are in political positions now because they think going into that position is what gives them money, not because they want to serve. So we have to change all this system.
I think we may not finish this. This subject in a day. There's quite a lot we have to explore here. Thank you so much, Dr. Ahmed Adamu, Petroleum Economist and Senior Lecturer at the Department of Economics at Nigerian University. Thank you for coming on the program today.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you so much. Thank you.